What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and Kyle coming back at you. It's the week of the NFL draft, Kyle. It's finally here. We've been talking about it for weeks, but it's time to have a little bit of fun. So we do some mock drafts all throughout the offseason, but everybody loves trades, right? Everybody wants their teams to make trades. So what we did is put together a mock draft full of trades because this is what people want to see, on draft night. But will all these happen? Probably not. But we're going to have some fun with it here over the next 30 minutes or so. So make sure you sit back, you grab yourself a cold one, maybe kick your feet up on an end table or an ottoman or something. Just relax, because we are going to put the pinkies up because we're going to entertain you for the next 30 minutes or so. Even though the beginning of the draft is probably going to be a lot of what a lot of people think, Kyle, but this is going to be a fun mock draft to do here.
Yeah, so I feel like in years past, we go into the first round of the NFL draft and we're like, this trade, that could happen. Things could go crazy, and then it's like, oh, well, that was underwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're kind of getting the same feel this year. A lot of talk is around that number 3 pick. If it's Fields, if it's Jones, what happens after that? Who's moving up to get a quarterback? There's also been some other talks about, teams making a move for certain players. So I said, you know what? Let's take a look at some trades that, probably won't happen, but could. If a team was saying, hey, let's go do this, it could potentially happen. So again, just playing out some scenarios with this mock draft. And then after this one, then I will break down in a couple of days, like my actual final predictions for the 2021 NFL draft.
Yeah, so sit back, relax. We're about to get freaky on you. Even though number 1, not so freaky, right? It's not really much of a surprise that Jacksonville Jaguars sitting at number 1. They're not going to trade it. They're going to keep it. They're going to draft Trevor Lawrence onto number 2, right?
Well, I mean, at the 1.01 of best hair, it's definitely myself over Trevor Lawrence. Sorry, Trev.
Number 2, we're going to move on to the New York Jets, Jets. And this is kind of where we've had this guy penciled in here most of the offseason. Also, it's Zach Wilson coming out of BYU, going to the Jets, number 2 overall to be their new franchise quarterback now that Sam Darnold no longer in town.
Yep, I don't see that changing. Zach Wilson, number 2 on draft night.
Yep, number 3, this is where you just mentioned it a couple minutes ago. Is it Mac Jones? Is it Justin Fields in this one? And this is what my heart tells me. I know there's so many reports that it's Mac Jones, but to me, Justin Fields just fits the Kyle Shanahan offense so much better.
No, I agree. And until a different name is called on draft night, I'm going to believe it's Justin Fields.
Yep. All right. Now, number 4. This is where we start to get a little freaky deaky. We're starting to get a little freaky deaky on you. We got the Dallas Cowboys at number 4 trading up with the Atlanta Falcons so that they can draft the man, the myth, the offseason legend himself, Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. I mean, a lot of people say this guy could be maybe one of the best all-around, picks in the entire NFL draft, like all over, not just at the tight end position. He's a great athlete. Dallas has a stacked receiving room, right? We got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and then they add Kyle Pitts to go with Zeke Elliott in the backfield. Oh boy, give me some Dak Prescott this year.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Kyle Pitts. We talked about it a little bit in our group chat. I was like, is there an even 1% chance Dallas is actually going to move up? And when you look at it, moving up from the position that they're at 10 to 4, that's not really that big of a jump. And I don't think Pitts is going past number 4 unless a team comes up here to take a quarterback. I think if Atlanta picks, Atlanta's taking Kyle Pitts. I don't see that not happening now at this point. Not saying that I love it, but if Dallas is going to get Kyle Pitts, they're either going to have to trade up to 4 to get him, or they're going to have to hope another team comes up there and that Cincinnati and the Dolphins will pass on him, because Pitts won't make it much farther than that, in my opinion.
No, probably not. More than likely, if Atlanta stays there, I agree. That's where he's going to fall. Number 5, this one I like. Now, a lot of people, myself included, we've talked about it in other videos. Do they go Jamar Chase? Do they do the unthinkable? No, they really shouldn't. They need to stay offensive line, and why not, in my opinion, take the best offensive lineman in this draft with Penei Sewell out of Oregon. The guy is an absolute monster. I mean, I'll be completely honest here. Full disclosure, I watched like 30 minutes of video on him just today, just so I could try to make sure I said his name right. I still don't know if I said his name right. But in that extra video that I watched, the guy is an absolute beast, and at such a young age can be so versatile on the offensive line. This is exactly what the Bengals need.
Yeah, I'll stop messing with everyone there for a while. When I first couple of times I heard it pronounced, it was Sewell. And then it is Sewell, okay? We know that, but I've been messing with you all. It's fun when people make fun of the names for me to just mess with you a little bit. So we'll start calling him Sewell.
Well, you can call him that. I probably won't call him that, but you can by all means. Let's see here. Number 6.
Let's protect Joe Burrow. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Number 6 here. Okay, we got the Miami Dolphins here sitting at number 6 now. And this is where we have Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU, given Tua another weapon. That would give them Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and then Jamar Chase. That would be no more excuses in the passing game as far as Tua goes. Plus, they got Mike Gesicki at the tight end position.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you look at it and you say, well, they're really set on the outside. Why would they need another outside wide receiver? With me, you're sitting here, you have a chance to get Jamar Chase, you do it. You don't draft somebody to play the slot just because you have Will Fuller on the outside. Will Fuller is only on a 1-year deal. Will Fuller can play a little bit out of the slot. Why not? Why not try to move him in and out there? Why not put Parker there, put Chase there, move him around a little bit? Chase is really, really, really good over the middle of the field. So you know what? In 2021, let him play the slot a little bit. Then he goes outside when Fuller is gone. Take the best weapon.
And we've proven here in the past, the past few weeks, past few months, the Philadelphia Eagles make stupid moves all over the place, right? So we're not going to put it past them here. Number 7, another team moving up, the Los Angeles Chargers. They got a franchise quarterback, right, in Justin Herbert. They need to make sure they protect this young man. We know about Austin Eckler and his opportunities in the backfield. They got great weapons on the outside. Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern, just gives a little bit more stability to this offensive line to protect their franchise quarterback.
They desperately need some help on the offensive line, getting their offensive tackle, left tackle of the future, and Rashawn Slater is a huge help here for them. 100% the right pick here. And like I said, having them trade up, they're only coming up from 13 to 7 in this mock. That's not that big of a jump. They definitely can make it happen. A trade that will probably happen, probably not. But again, just throwing some different scenarios that really could be realistic.
Yeah, and we're not stopping there, right? We're just going to keep the trades coming because people love trades. I mean,
trades-a-palooza, baby.
If you like trades, you hit the like button because we got another trade right here. Now we have the New England Patriots making a move up to the number 8 spot from Carolina, and they take their new franchise quarterback in Mac Money Jones, I guess we can call him. Mac Daddy, I put him on a thumbnail. I mean, I've heard...
I like Mac Daddy.
That's what I put on a Headliner U thumbnail a while back.
Can we call him Mac and Cheese? Because he's like... I mean, he's good, right? But he's just not overwhelming. Like Mac and Cheese, is it like really a side item? Is it ever the star? No, it's good, but it complements other things. So Mac and Cheese for me is going to be my nickname from now on.
I actually kind of like it. But yeah, Mac Jones going to the New England Patriots right here, number 8 overall. And going to the Denver Broncos next at number 9 now. They got needs. Right? I mean, they got needs all over the place. Who's going to be their quarterback of the future here? We got a lot of questions. Is it going to be Drew Lock? Is it not? Well, as of right now, going number 9 overall, we have Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State, to try to shore up that defense a little bit.
And I think this is the perfect fit in the middle of their defense. They've got edge rushers. They've got guys that create pressure. A guy like Parsons in the middle of the field to kind of cover that space, to help with the run game, everything like that. The perfect fit here. Denver would be crazy to miss on him.
Yep. Next up, this is where we now have the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, we had them trading with Dallas from 4 back to 10. And they kind of get this falling into their lap, right? A lot of people want to say that Matt Ryan on the downhill swing of his career, they're not going to get any farther than they've already gotten with Matt Ryan. What's the future going to be? Well, Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State, sitting here for them at number 10, would absolutely have to be their pick if this scenario were to come happen.
Yeah, and I don't personally think it's going to be Trey Lance. I'm not a big, hey, Atlanta, draft a quarterback when you already have one type of person. However, in this mock draft, playing out these trades and things like that, we've got a whole lot of guys moving around, and all of a sudden Atlanta is sitting there and Trey Lance falls into your lap at the 10th overall pick. At that point, you start taking a look at it and saying, this is a great spot to take this guy.
Yep, number 11 now. Another trade, because why? We all about that trade life in this video. So The Arizona Cardinals moving up to number 11 from the New York Giants. They take Patrick Surtain, defensive back out of Alabama. Now, being a Cardinals fan, I 100% agree it needs to be a defensive back selection. I like me some J.C. Horn, so I'm a little bit impartial there, but Patrick Surtain going, I mean, hey, we can't argue. We're just going positions at this point. So Patrick Surtain out of Alabama going to Arizona to try to help them in the secondary because, I mean, we know that the defensive line is set, right? They're going to be able to rush the passer just fine, but can they stop the passing game? Hopefully he can help out here.
Yeah, and the Giants trading back, it's like a 0.067532486753% chance that it's going to happen. They don't trade back, right? But again, just one of those things where you look at Arizona sitting at the 16th pick. You have Surtain that can come off the board. You have Horn that could come off the board. You have Caleb Farley. You have some teams there with need at quarterback. I mean, the Eagles, they could take a look at quarterback. The Lions, who have traded back in this mock, could take a look at quarterback. The Giants, who they trade with, could take a look at quarterback. The Vikings, the Panthers, I mean, all these teams in front of them, we could be taking a look at quarterback. So they move up and they get a guy that as of right now is that quarterback or cornerback one in the draft only because my man Caleb Farley has some injury question marks.
Yep, agreed. Number 12 now is where we'll have the Philadelphia Eagles after they move back. And this could be a surprise to some, right? But not to us. If you watch us or you watch Headliner U, you know how much we like Jalen Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama. This dude is so underrated. It's ridiculous. And because he was overshadowed by his teammates, right? He's had star-studded wide receivers just, keeping him out of the spotlight for a long time. Jalen Waddle going to Philadelphia to pair him with Jalen Reagor. I kind of like that, like a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I think he is a lot better than Devonta Smith at this pick here because Jalen Waddle has a better chance of being that true outside type of wide receiver. Whereas Devonta Smith, I think he's looking at becoming more of a dominant force in the NFL if he plays in the slot. And with you already having kind of, an outside wide receiver like Jalen Reagor, who isn't maybe not becoming that traditional outside wide receiver, that number one that you need, Waddle could be that.
Agreed. You have Devonta Smith coming up here next at number 13. Boom. Going to the Detroit Lions after swapping there with the Los Angeles Chargers. So now Devonta Smith going to Detroit, which is great because we know that there's like nobody there to catch passes. I mean, it's TJ Hawkinson at this point, right? I mean, they need somebody. And why not go out there and get the Heisman winning wide receiver at Devonta Smith out of Alabama?
Well, they have Tyrell Williams and they have Brashad Perryman right now. They have Quintez Cephas as well. So the reason I like Smith is because, yeah, he's a guy that could play in the slot this year with having Perryman and Williams on the outside. And then maybe in the second round, depending on where Detroit drafts, we have them trading back here. Who knows what other picks they get? Maybe if a guy like Terrace Marshall falls into the second round, you can grab him. Maybe you get a guy like Rondell Moore in the second round, and then you can move Smith back outside and put Moore in the slot. Different things like that can happen. But with the way it's currently set up, I think taking Smith would not be a bad shot for them here because they can put him in the slot year one and really let him dominate there.
Agreed. Number 14, the Minnesota Vikings. This is where we have them taking interior offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. I mean, protect that offensive line and give Dalvin Cook an opportunity, right? I mean, the guy has proven now that he can put up some big numbers if he can stay healthy. Let's open up the offensive line. Let's get him some holes to run through.
This might be one of the most unsexiest top 15 picks that you can find. But the thing is I absolutely love Elijah Vera Tucker. Absolutely.
Why don't you marry him?
I think he can be an absolute beast on the inside. He's exactly what the Vikings need. Vikings fans, this isn't going to make you stand up and go, yeah, that's right. We got you, NFC North, but it's a good pick.
It's a need, right? This is what they need. Yep. I mean, that's what it really is all about right there. So number 15, the Carolina Panthers, now after swapping picks with the New England Patriots, they move back and they get the guy I mentioned a little bit earlier, defensive back J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. And it was kind of obvious last year, right? I mean, Carolina has offensive weapons. I mean, we know they're going to be able to move the ball on offense. but can they stop anybody? As of right now, no is the answer. So why not go out and try to shore up your defensive backfield a little bit and get J.C. Horn?
And I've seen people say, well, we spent so many picks on defensive players last year. I don't care. Your defense still needs a lot of help.
It blows.
Okay? Yeah, it's not that good. Did we see some flashes at times? Yes, we did. Okay. But get yourselves a lockdown corner like J.C. Horn. You're playing there in the NFC South. You're going to have to stop some pretty good offenses. Do it.
Yep. Makes sense. Number 16 here is where we had the New York Giants move back to after swapping with Arizona, and they get themselves a beast on the defensive line. Kwity Paye out of Michigan going to the Giants.
On draft night, when he comes off the board, I'm just going to yell, Kwity Paye!
Okay.
Okay. I'm just trying to make things as awkward as possible tonight, Headliner Nation.
Perfect.
That's what we do, but for the New York Giants, I mean, you could potentially look at a couple of other things other than an edge and say, do we really need an edge? I think you do. I think you could use a little bit more help, especially a guy like Paye who might be a little raw coming into the league and need to be helped out in some areas. But when you get a year or two down the road, you're going to get a guy that absolutely can rush the quarterback, but is going to be able to help in the run game, holding the edges and things like that too.
Yep. Number 17, we now have the Las Vegas Raiders. We have them selecting Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or as we like to call him, JOK, just because it's a lot easier. Linebacker out of Notre Dame. The Raiders have needs all over the place. Why not go out there and get yourself an athlete and just start building in right there in the linebacking position?
Absolutely. JOK, one of my favorite players in this draft. He can do a whole lot of things really, really good. He is a guy that I really kind of think can become like a Levante David type player for his next team in the NFL. A guy that, he might not rush the backfield too much, but he's going to be all over the place. He's going to be tackling guys. He's going to be bringing guys down. You're not going to get any extra yardage with him around the ball. That's the type of guy that I think the Las Vegas Raiders need to have on their defense.
Yep. Number 18, the Miami Dolphins. A lot of people in a lot of mock drafts think that they go running back here. That's what a lot of people want to think is going to happen because that's the sexy pick, right? The sexy pick right now would be Najee Harris for them. But no, they're going to stay on the defensive side of the football and take edge rusher Jalen Phillips out of Miami and keep him at home. It's right where he played his college ball. Yep. Keep him in Miami and try to create more pressure there on the defensive line.
And I get some people, I'm worried about Jalen Phillips, concussions, injuries, things like that. I'm not as worried about that. He is an excellent football player, and really he's probably the edge one in this class. If he had been healthy, he would be the edge one by quite a bit in this class. So I think Miami's getting a guy here that, they need some guys on the edge. They need to work on that defense a little bit. That's absolutely fine that you want to have a running back here. I get it. I was one that was mocking a running back here early in the offseason, but after I've dove into Myles Gaskin a little bit more, I really hope they don't draft anybody. I liked Myles Gaskin coming out of Washington. I'm hoping that he gets his shot finally. I think if he does, he's going to be just fine in that backfield. I don't think they need to have a running back to compete better.
Yeah, agreed. Next up, the Washington football team. And this one, it's scary in a good way because this defense is so young and so talented that you saw it at times last year. And now they take one of my favorite defensive players in this entire draft, Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. If this kid is what he looks like he could be on this defense, the Washington football team is going to skyrocket up defensive ranks because this kid is a stud.
Yep, and I think what they know with their offense, that they're not going to make any picks right here that's going to turn that offense into some sort of a game-changing offense. They've made some moves in the offseason to make that offense better. I would like to see them add an offensive tackle as well or some type of a lineman, but this draft is pretty deep for offensive linemen this year. There's a lot of really good guys that you're going to get a little bit later in the draft. So what do you do here? You continue to work on that defense that was so scary last year. What do you have in Washington? You've got a bunch of guys that can get to the backfield. bring in Zaven Collins, a guy that can anchor the middle of the field and be that guy that really can patrol the middle of the field, help keep the run game from getting away from them. And anybody that's crossing over the middle, they're going to think twice about it with Zaven Collins there.
Yep. Number 20, the Chicago Bears. This is where we talked about Caleb Farley a little bit earlier. The injury concerns having him drop down draft boards got him going out of Virginia Tech defensive back to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and they need to replace Kyle Fuller 100% and do it right here with Caleb Farley. Again, if he hadn't had that issue with his back right before pro days, he would be the cornerback one in this class, locked and loaded. But he's not because of some of those concerns. The Bears, for once, make it out of the first round without making a mistake right here.
Number 21, the Indianapolis Colts. We know they now have new quarterback, Carson Wentz. They got weapons on the outside. They got too many running backs in the backfield because we want it to be all Jonathan Taylor all the time. But we need to protect Carson Wentz in this offense. And they already have a great offensive line in Indianapolis, but why not continue that? Build the offensive line and everything else just comes along with it. Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech right here.
Yeah, they need to add another offensive line. Again, that offensive line has been so good for the last couple of years. Now they have a chance where you kind of need to improve it a little bit again, and you can do that with Darrisaw here. Some people that I've talked to, this is a guy that's like a top 20, top 15 pick for them. So coming in here at number 21 is really, really good value, and they get their left tackle of the future.
Number 22, the Tennessee Titans. This one makes me excited. This one makes me excited. We know please. I'm not going to. I don't even have pants on right now. I like it because we've lost Corey Davis in Tennessee. We've lost Jonnu Smith in Tennessee. So we got A.J. Brown, who we love, but he's going to need somebody else in that offense to take a little bit of pressure, away from him, give Ryan Tannehill another option. And Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, this gives me Justin Jefferson vibes right here.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing about Marshall. When I first started, maybe I don't really start my film grinding where I'm watching guys really trying to do, my scouting, my notes, things like that until after the Super Bowl. Cause we're so focused in on the NFL that, it's hard to find time to do all these other things. But really early on, I watched Marshall a little bit and I was like, this is a guy that I like. I'm going to want to watch more. And every time I watch him, I get more and more excited about him. So early on, I was like, keep an eye on this guy. But now I'm like, he's a first round pick. He's definitely a guy, like you said, some Justin Jefferson vibes where, he can come in and you think he's going to play the wide receiver too. But in actuality, he's going to help the other wide receiver. They're going to feed off each other. And you're going to find two guys that are going to work really well.
Yep. Love that. Number 23, the New York Jets. This is where we have, the Jets have needs everywhere, right? All over the place. Why not start there on the defensive side? You got your franchise quarterback early on. Let's go Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher out of Miami.
The Jets have more needs than a 40-year-old divorcee. So I really understand why they could go anywhere right here. I'm going to go with one of the guys that's considered to be one of the most athletic freaks in this draft, Gregory Rousseau. You can watch the tape and just see why this guy could become just a dominant force at the next level. I love Rousseau. Going here to the Jets, I think he fits really well with the new vibes that they have there, with what this coaching staff is trying to do and implement with this team, with some toughness, physicality, things of that nature. Boom. Russo's going to fit right in.
Boom. Moving on then, after that boom, to number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Big Ben not getting any younger. There really is no plan B at this point. They're basically playing for right now, so we got to make sure we do whatever we can to protect right now. They're going offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and Ben Roethlisberger, here's the thing, he's kind of like your favorite toy when you were younger, just exciting, fun to play with. And then one day it breaks and you take it to your dad and you're like, yo, Dad, I need you to fix this. My favorite toy. Let's do it. But your dad's like, oh, this toy is getting older. We're going to replace it soon. So you know what he does? He puts, a little gum there in the socket and sticks that arm back in there. And it's just not the same anymore. It doesn't move the same way. It's not as fun. And that it's just going to be a while before it's in the dollar box outside in your garage sale. So you know what? I know that they need some maybe offensive weapons. People are talking about needing a running back here. Let's protect that toy a little bit more so he doesn't get blindsided, that arm falls off, and then you've got to watch Mason Rudolph all season.
That's a bad day. If the arm falls off, that's a heck of an injury. I would hate to see the injury breakdown from Dr. Ethan Turner for an arm falling off, but it would be interesting. Number 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They drafted Trevor Lawrence first, right? So we're going to keep this theme going. If you're going to invest that type of pick, go ahead.
Rondu.
Okay. I mean, I think you added an extra N in there, but that's okay. It was fun to watch you say. Oh, there you go. Okay, maybe you didn't. Maybe I just heard that extra N. Dylan Radunes, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State, to help shore up the offensive line a little bit and protect Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and he's a mauler. Dylan Radunes is a guy that will get out there, knock people down, can get to the second level. Absolutely love him. And I do think as well, he's a guy that if for some reason he has some issues on the outside, you could transition him in just fine. You could put him at right tackle to start with, but he's a guy that, you know, he's just a mean offensive lineman. And again, trying to change what they have going on in Jacksonville, a new attitude. I don't know what that cheater Urban Meyer's trying to instill in them right now, but he's trying to do his thing there. I respect him for making the jump to the NFL level, even if it is after his second health issue, whatever, though. Dylan Radunes is a guy that really instills what they're trying to do there. And I'm going to have Ohio State fans just blasting the comments now.
Yeah, you just pissed off some people. Number 26, the Cleveland Browns. That's okay. I'm about to piss some more people off. You know why, Kyle? Because I can sit here on April, this is the 25th, this is being recorded, and say that the Cleveland Browns really don't have a glaring need. They are a pretty solid football team from top to bottom. They could improve in some areas, absolutely, but there isn't just that one thing that, hey, this is what they got to go get, right? So Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher out of Georgia, is where we're going right here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you add another edge rusher on the opposite side of Myles Garrett, and you're going to be, I have to start laughing because I got this notification that just popped up about setting up professional audio and audio settings. I feel like my voice is just so angelic that Zoom heard it and thought to themselves, this man needs to be heard by the world. I don't know why this audio setting things is up all the way, but it makes me laugh. Anyway, back to the content, baby. Ojulari on the opposite side of Myles Garrett. You got to absolutely love what that could bring to that Cleveland Browns, because maybe it keeps Garrett from being double teamed so often. And if it does, oh my gosh, the Browns are going to be a damn good team.
I'm pausing for a second. They have Jadeveon Clowney now.
That's true, but here's the thing. He's going to be I think Ojulari is going to be a guy with his hand in the ground. And Clowney, what side of the field is he going to be on? Is he going to be on the opposite side of Myles Garrett every single time? Is he going to be a guy that might be on the same side? Because if you're double teaming Garrett and all of a sudden Clowney's over on that side with him, coming from the same direction, it's going to be tough to stop both of those guys coming in at the same time. And that's why I think that this is still a good pick, because he's going to be on the line on the opposite side.
All right, number 27, the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens made some moves, right? They got themselves an extra first-round pick that we'll see later on here, but a lot of question marks surrounding where they're going to go, because the offense needs some help, right? We saw it stall out at times last year, but where they're sitting right this second, there isn't going to be anybody immediately available without having to reach that's going to help them. So let's stay on the defensive side of the football for right now and go with Trevin Moehrig, safety out of TCU.
And here's the thing. If they draft a wide receiver, I'm fine with it. Personally, I think they need to add one because nobody wants to sign there in free agency. So let's add somebody, okay? If we do that, is it really worth it here in the first round? Okay.
Not right now.
The Ravens are a team that have always said defense first, right? You think of the Ravens, you think of those defenses. They need a little bit of help on the defense. Okay. Let's focus on that. And there's some wide receivers a little bit later in the draft. I think that the Ravens would be keen to trying to get their hands on.
Yeah, totally agree. Number 28, the New Orleans Saints. Now the Drew Breesless New Orleans Saints, and obviously they're not going quarterback, right? They got Jameis Winston, they got Taysom Hill, but what do they need? Some help in the defensive secondary with Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Newsome II. I like him. A guy that when you watch him, he's not spectacular. He's not a guy that's going to make 5-star plays all the time. He's going to do the right stuff, and he's going to do the right stuff well.
Right stuff, baby. What song is that? You remember that? Is that New Kids on the Block?
Is that from 75 when you graduated? Did you go to
prom? All right, moving forward. Number 29, the Green Bay Packers. A lot of people want wide receivers to go here also. I mean, we say it, I'm pretty sure everybody says every offseason, who's the wide receiver going to be added in Green Bay, and nobody ever gets added. And it's not going to happen this time either. We're going to go to the interior offensive line and take Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma.
Creed Humphrey is a guy who just recently has started to make his way into the first round discussions. And I like him because Humphrey is a guy that could step in at center right away, or he could play either guard position. That's why I like Creed Humphrey. Again, you might not know the name. It might not sound familiar. Hasn't really been talked about this offseason, but over the last couple of weeks, he's a guy that a lot of scouts have come out and said, we've got a first round grade on him now, more than likely in the second round. But if a team takes him towards the end of the first, they're going to get a really good offensive lineman that's going to help a team right away.
Yep, agreed. Next one up, number 30 pick, the Buffalo Bills. Now our boy, Chris Chouse over at Headliner U, right here, he's going running back. He wants himself a running back. Well, this ain't your channel right now, Chris. We're controlling this, my friend. You can do that on yours, but here we're going to switch it up a little bit because the teams in their division are getting better, right? I mean, maybe except for the Patriots. They're just signing every wide receiver they can get their hands on. But they need to stop some opposing defenses in the secondary. And Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State, and as a defensive back, is a great selection for them, even though it's not the sexy running back pick.
Yeah, and running back would be sexy. I get it. But listen, as the Buffalo Bills, you're going to have to be competing with an East Division that is increasingly getting more competitive. You've obviously got Miami there that's getting better. The Patriots are trying not to go away, but you're going to be fighting for the next several years against Kansas City for a right to go to the Super Bowl. Best way to stop Kansas City is stop their offense. And the best way to do that, boom, drafting a guy like Asante Samuel Jr. that can help out on the defensive side of the ball.
Here we go with the second pick now for the Baltimore Ravens. This is the one they just picked up from Kansas City. Sitting here, number 31. Do we go wide receiver yet? No, we do not. We stay on the defensive side of the football because there's going to be wide receivers later on in this draft that they can select that. Why reach for them right here? So we'll go edge rusher Jason Oweh out of Penn State.
And Oweh is a guy that he's really in a kind of a large range of outcomes right now. I mean, he's a guy that could go into the first round and provide into the first round talent. He's a guy that could go anywhere from the late second to early third and provide that type of feedback or that type of return in the draft. So I like him personally. I think he's a guy from a pure edge rushing standpoint that he might become that. He might not be a guy that's going to help out all over the place, but he is a guy that's going to continuously get at the quarterback, and that's what the Ravens need to add right now.
And with the last pick of the first round, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, they brought back almost everyone, so they don't really need anything.
They don't.
I mean, like nothing at all. Like they could probably just sit out the entire NFL draft and be fine. You know what I mean?
Have fun, everybody. We're gonna hang out back here. And
we're just gonna chill. But they actually get a great player that falls to him at 32 here. Interior defensive lineman Christian Barmore out of Alabama.
Yeah, and Barmore really honestly is a mid first round talent. So, but because, interior defensive lineman, is he that sexy pick? I think that gets lost sometimes. Dropping all the way down here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, you did bring back Ndamukong Suh, but that's only going to be for a year. You're going to have to replace the interior of the defensive line. Barmore is a guy that you can rotate in and out, can be kind of a rotational player this year, and then next year really take that step forward and be that dependent starter that they need to have.
Yeah, agreed. And like we said at the beginning, right, this is all 32 picks here so far, but this one was trade crazy, right? Because a lot of people, every mock draft we do, everybody's like, well, what about this trade? Is this trade going to happen? Is this team going to move up? What about this? So we figured let's have a little bit of fun with it. Don't get butthurt over mock drafts, right? This is just discussing different scenarios that we could see happen. We're not trying to, focus in on our inner NFL selves and guess all these picks 100%. We're just playing out different scenarios. So when these names are called on draft night, you have an idea of who your team just selected if you don't understand the name. That's what this is all about, and that's why we enjoy doing these mock drafts. Now, Kyle alluded to it a little bit earlier. He is going to be doing another mock draft here this week in which he tries to nail it down a little bit closer on how maybe things are lining up last second before the NFL draft, right, Kyle?
Yeah. Like we've said before, playing out scenarios is kind of how we do our mock drafts in the off season, but we're just a few days away from the NFL draft now. So I'm going to finally lock it in. And I'm going to say, this is what I think will happen on the first night of the NFL draft.
Yeah, and speaking of the NFL draft, once again, a reminder, we will be live streaming the entire first round of the NFL draft. Last year, it was like a 5-hour stream of straight awesomeness, and we have giveaways planned. We're going to have all the entire team in the house. We're all going to be here on the screen. We're going to be set up like Anchorman up in here. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a lot of fun. Make sure you click the subscribe button and the little notification bell as well, because you don't want to miss it when we go live Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you're there and lighting up the chat, because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch it with you, Headliner Nation. But for myself and for Kyle, we greatly appreciate the support. Leave those comments down below. We look forward to talking to you. Have a good one. Thanks.